Hello, and welcome to this collective and timeless reading. This is E-Star Tarot, and today I'm just going to be asking what messages we need for this collective. What do they need to receive as a message right now from our ancestors, spirit guides, and guardian angels? Card's too big for my hand. Maybe I'll shuffle this way. Yeah. A little mix it up today. This card really wants to come out, doesn't it? All right, we'll go with that. Oh my god. I saw this on the bottom and I just kind of decided to break the deck and put it in the middle. But it came right back out. So sometimes, you just can't, I'm hearing can't run from the devil, so are you wrestling with some devilish energies right now? Is there something, maybe, could be some toxic energies trying to follow you? Maybe you've had some contact actually recently from someone that was trying to reconnect with you, actually. Yeah. Someone trying to come into your energy still that you've been trying to expel, but you recognize them as the devil right now. That's the key part of this, is that even though this person may have played a role in your life quite a bit, you recognize them now. You see the devil. The devil, whatever this represents in your life, could be a toxic relationship, a specific attachment to an activity, something to do with addictions maybe, or just a negative programming or pattern of thinking that you've had in your life for quite a long time. That time is over, because the only way that it could maintain or sustain itself was to deceive you, was to have you believe that it was good, essentially, or you just couldn't see it for what it was. But now, because you do recognize it, because you do see it, big motorbike just came by, and you're out of here is what I'm getting. It's like you are not tolerating that nonsense anymore. Because you see it, it can't get under your skin. It can't control you in the way that it did before. It can't manipulate you. And that's the only way that it had power before, was if it tricked you, right? But if the trick doesn't, if you see the illusion, basically, you see the magic trick, then it has no power in your life, right? So, I'll try this again. I have to go with my thumb and my pinky because my hands just aren't big enough. But I do love these cards quite a bit. They're really nice tarot cards, so I just go with them. Shuffle the best I can. So what else do we need to know about this devil energy going on here? Oh, there we go. The Hermit. Yeah, you retreated from them. That's what you did. You took time out, and you gave yourself the space and the time to stay away from that energy. And because you did that, because you put yourself into a self-imposed isolation, you were able to figure this all out. You just needed the time and the space where they weren't getting into your head, to actually work out the issue, work out the problem, to see it for what it was. Because a lot of times what that energy does in our life is it makes sure that it's always there. That we never get a break from them, so that we don't remember what it's like to not be around them, right? And then, because once we do, the jig is up, right? Once we recognize what's going on. And part of it is just that we see how much happier and better we feel when we're away from that energy. And that's what's really illuminating for us. Yeah, illuminating, because he's got the lantern, right? He's got the illumination of awareness, knowledge, that he can, live a good life without this energy, right? It could be an addiction, right? It could be something like, just say the easy one, say it's drinking or smoking. I say easy because it's very easy to fall into those ones. A lot of people have those issues, but I would say that, a big part of defeating that is just recognizing that you can live without it. And when you see what life is like without it, you suddenly see, oh, this is what it was doing to me. This is what it was stealing from me. This is what it was taking from me. Right? And that could be a person, that could be a way of thinking about yourself. Like if it was negative thought patterns, like, horrible things you were saying to yourself, when you step out of that and you realize how much it was affecting you, suddenly, all the masks are taking off and you can see everybody for who they are and you see that energy for what it is. It's a block. It's a negative entity even. Like sometimes these things, they come out and manifest as like toxic patterns of behavior or thinking, but it's also dark energies in the world. Like there's a lot of, I for lack of a better term, I'll call them spirits, but there's beings that kind of feed off of us, and they're all around us, and they can take advantage of our ignorance of them to feed on these energies, and they want to promote those energies so they have a food source, right? So, yeah. Truce. Four of Swords, yeah. So you've taken a balanced approach where maybe this person you're giving them an excuse like, oh, I can't do this right now because I've got this going on or whatever, but it's really that you're extracting them from your aura, from your energy field, and you're making it so that you're becoming purified. But it's most importantly, it's giving you a chance to breathe, a chance to rest, and you're making it so you're doing this in the easiest way possible, in a good way, and easy on yourself and even easy on them as well, whatever this thing is. If it's the case, it's a person, you're making it easier for them to understand. You're making it, you might be having to be a little deceptive even to not be completely honest, but that's okay. Sometimes people don't need to know the whole truth of what's going on with us. Sometimes it's just better to do what's best for us, right? There we go. The moon, yeah, exactly. Hidden things. As the moon can talk about what's hidden from us, right? And you're telling them what they need to know, and that's it, basically. So that they can have minimal interference in your life, which is good. That's what you want. You don't want them having too much influence, right? Or having an excuse. Because sometimes, especially narcissistic or controlling energies from people, sometimes they want to start an argument with you or do anything to just start a discussion with you so that they get access to your energy, but you are wise to that. You are not falling for it. So you're doing whatever you can to protect your peace, to protect your rest. And that is good. That's what you got to continue to do. Because when you're resting and you're alone, you're getting the messages that you need to up-level your life. I think this was a block for a long time. And so you might have this energy of feeling behind in life because of that, but that's not the case. This was all meant to be as it turned out, as things unfolded. The divine timing is on point, is what I'm trying to say. So you don't have to worry about catching up and making up for lost time. You're okay. You're okay. I feel like I gotta tell you you're okay, because I feel like maybe you've just been so high-strung and tense from this relationship that it's actually going to take you a long time to figure out how to rest. Especially if we have experienced narcissistic abuse or just really difficult personalities that like to control us. It can be really, really, tiring and hard to recover because we don't know how to rest after that kind of thing. We get a bit of PTSD from that. So Yeah, what should they continue to do? What should be their course of action in this? Just to continue resting, or is there another step to take here? That would be helpful. No, that's not it. Too much. It was too much. Too much, huh? So maybe, just because I'm hearing that, maybe too much is on your plate and you got to take this time to rest. Is this it? Yeah. Artha. Oh my gosh, I can't read. My eyes are a little blurry today. What's going on with that? Yeah, maybe you're having some strain. Yeah, maybe you're staring at a computer screen so long your eyes are blurry. I don't know. But something's off. Yeah, balanced life. 34. You could be 34, or maybe that has a significance to you, that number. It also breaks down to a 7. 7's a lucky number. I think for you, you're figuring out how to live a balanced life again after having so much imbalance from this toxic, I want to say abuse, and I feel like that's intense to say, but you know, it's abuse. Even if it was, if we're on the side of this is an addiction, then you know, you abuse your body, right, to cope. But it's still something your body has to recover from, like it's been abused, right? But we can be mentally abused, emotionally abused, spiritually abused too, if we've been under spiritual attack. It takes a long time to recalibrate. And I'm feeling called to bring up the orange calcite I brought in today. It's a really nice piece. And I feel like there's going to be something to do with your creativity, because I think of the orange sacral chakra, the second chakra. And this is just such a nice stone for that. So I feel like because our sacral is affected by addictions, right? That's where addictions will, if they're rooted in some part of our aura while we're going through it, it's in the second chakra, right? Because it's over pleasure, it's too much, it's overindulgence, right? And it's to do with things that happen in our past and in our emotional body, you know, because water is associated with the sacral, right, too, the emotions. When things become imbalanced there, we tend to have addictions or to get involved with people that are really bad for us, toxic for us. We can get into especially sexual relationships that are, you know, really bad for us too. That can be rooted in the sacral. So I'm really feeling that with this. And then we got our little bear totem here. Bear for love and protection. Yeah, you're giving yourself real love, which is self-nurturance. Treating yourself right. Doing what your body actually needs. So, yeah, what do we got here? Fear of death. Ahini vesha. Fear of death, yeah. Under the devil. I think this goes along with that that kind of FOMO energy I was feeling. It's hard not to have FOMO when you, especially when you feel like you've missed out on time, right? When you feel like you've been through a lot and you come out of it and then you kind of realize what you could have had if you hadn't gone through it. It can be, you know, it's really alarming, and it's really, there's a grief with that. You have to feel the grief and not ignore it, because that stuff festers in us. And when you process that, when you let yourself feel that grief, you know, it can move through us and past us, right? Yeah, and the gray and the white and the black in here, it started talking about life. There's grays, there's white and black, the extremes, and there's the messy grayness of life as well. But it's also about, you know, life can be all color and no color as well, right? I think when you live this life, you're realizing that living that kind of life was sucking all the color out of your life. Like it was ruining it. And now you've realized how you want life to be. You're going from this to a balanced life. But you had to go through it. You had to go through, the isolation, the self-reflection, the going within to face your shadow. Find illumination, find what was hidden from you. The darkness within you that allowed you to let that energy in, because it's not a blaming thing. It's not to say it's your fault. It's to say that can only happen to us if there is an imbalance. In a way, the devil energy is there to actually help us, because if things aren't bad, we won't recognize that something's wrong, right? And we won't try to fix it, and we would stay the same forever. The devil energy is disruptive, but yet it also corrects, right? It forces you to correct, even as it's, harming you. You walking away from the devil is the devil's teaching to you. It's teaching you how to move away by being a terrible influence, a terrible thing in your life, because otherwise you wouldn't get rid of it, right? You wouldn't even notice it. Yeah. Yeah. And the lesson also with fear of death is that death happens to everyone, and I think maybe there's some self-forgiveness there in that message. I think, you need to have some self-compassion for going through that, because it's easy to get through it and then be like, oh, why didn't I figure it out? But when you're going through it, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Think everything becomes obvious, or you have 2020 vision. What is it? Hindsight's 2020. I think we all have like PTSD for that because of the year 2020. I didn't even want to say that phrase. Maybe you actually had some death and some negative things that happened around that time in 2020, 2021 as well, where something happened that shook up your life, that made you question everything, that made you have to reevaluate what you wanted. Maybe just spending all the time off, because a lot of people had to be home in isolation. Yeah, with hermit isolation. You had to figure things out. You had to reevaluate your life. And suddenly you were seeing all these red flags for things that were no longer serving you. You were recognizing what was toxic in your life. You were seeing it. And the self-compassion thing, it's easy to see things afterwards, but during it's tough. And everyone goes through that. That's the thing. Everyone goes through death. Everyone goes through life. So don't hold yourself to a higher standard than everybody else, because that's not fair to you. It's not. You can get through this, and it's there's no shame in getting through it either. Like, who's coming here to Earth and living a perfect life? Like, come on. No one does that. And some people seem like they're living an abundant life, but that's just because social media makes it seem like everything's good for people, and you just don't see all the the bad moments, right? And that's the danger of social media, right? It shows only the good and not the bad. But there's always gray. There's always the black, the white, and gray. So don't think that you're living some life that, is so much worse than everybody else. Everyone goes through these things. And it's okay. You can relax. Yeah. And there's another message here too of how would you live your last day if you knew it was your last day. And to take that mentality with you where you don't live with regrets, right? And I think you are kind of actually, that's part of what this lesson has been, is that you don't want to waste any time with toxic energies or with addictions or with beating yourself up mentally. Like, you're done with that. You've decided that now is the time to move forward and live your best life. You're kind of like, well, I'm here anyway, so I might as well be happy, right? Like, and it makes sense. What's the point in being here and being miserable, right? Like, and there's things to be miserable about, but you could also just, like, it makes me think of that phrase, happiness is a choice. Some people don't like that, but it is really true. Happy people aren't just happy because everything's good. they're also choosing to be happy, irregardless of everything else, right? God, I always want to bring up like random obscure shows, and I feel like, do people resonate with this? But there's also a reason I'm bringing it up, so I will. You know, like in that show Steven Universe, the character Steven, he is so uplifting as a character because he just kind of sees the fun and the positive and everything, and he sees everybody in a loving way. And that's just his way. That's how he moves through life. And no matter what his circumstances are, he brings that energy to it. And that changes everything, right? That changes the events, how things turn out, and how his life is, right? And I think you've learned that. You've learned that you have an effect on the matrix. What you want in your life is going to be a product of your attitudes that you bring to the table, that you bring to your own life. It's not you're not you're not like a boat that's being hit by the waves and you're just taking every force and hoping for the best. No, you realize that you can adjust your sails and you can take advantage of situations or make the best of them or deal with them in a way that you don't have to let it destroy you. And there's great power in that. There's great power. That's the key to happiness right there. Let's get an angel card here. Archangel guidance. Whatever card. Oh, here we go. Exactly. Healthy lifestyle. Yeah, so I do get a sense this could be on the addiction side of things. If you're deciding you want to live healthier, be healthier, and eradicate a lot of maybe some sort of substance that was addictive in your life, I think you're really doing it. Or you're at least recognizing that this is the thing I have to get a hold of, get on top of, get a control of. And we got Archangel Raphael here. That's why we got all the green, because Raphael is associated with green, because he's all about the heart chakra, right? Which is the green chakra. Eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, and exercise regularly for optimal health. You know, it's great practical advice, but you know, it's not so easy for some people. And that's because there are wounds we get in our heart, and that can affect everything else. You know, a lot of addictions, it's not just simply stopping. It's about recognizing the impulse that makes you need to lean on that addiction, right? And usually there's a heart wound at the core of that, right? You know, you are escaping from, you know, social anxiety, and that could break down to a belief about self-worth that is lodged in your heart, like a lack of love for yourself because you don't have self-acceptance. Or, you know, it could be something like, it's a behavior that's tied to someone else that also does that behavior, and you don't want to lose that person because you feel like that person is so important to you that you'd rather destroy yourself than possibly lose that person by going a different path than them. But the thing is, there's a belief in there about, I can't ever find anybody else that is like that for me. But you can. Whatever space, whenever there's a void, the universe fills it. So, you know, if you have to let go of someone to lose someone in this process, it doesn't mean you'll be alone forever. You won't be the hermit forever. The universe will bring in a new energy for you that will replace that will bring, you know, that love in, and it will be a better love, a more balanced love that isn't dependent on a toxic routine or pattern. Yeah, let's just see. Let's get some confirmation with butterflies. You know, when you think about it, butterflies are kind of like insect angels, aren't they? They die in the chrysalis and then they come back as these winged beings. And isn't that kind of like the soul? Well, that just didn't want to go back, did it? So I guess that's it. Be true to you. Yeah. Be honest with them. Tell them if you don't want to be that way anymore. If it's harming you and it's toxic to you, and it could be a situation where you actually are a positive influence on them. Maybe you'll actually influence them to cut those behaviors as well. But if it's a situation where they want to pull you back, where they want to stop you from evolving or changing, you got to cut that energetic tie loose, right? Maybe do a cord cutting if you have to, because sometimes, actually a lot of times I would say, people like to hang on even when you verbally say you're done, right? Yeah, and don't be afraid to tell that person or maybe even that side of yourself, this is who I want to be now. I don't want to live this way. Be true to the real you, your real soul, because when we're wrapped up in addictions, we're kind of being someone else, right? We're taking on this other persona that we fuel through that addiction. I'm sorry if addiction doesn't resonate, but that is just coming through so strongly here. So I hope whoever's listening really gets, you get the help and support that you need, because it's hard. It takes years sometimes, but I think you can make a grand turnaround if you get there mentally, right? Because that's what it is. A lot of people get confused that it's like, I just have to stop. But no, it's not just stopping. It's also recognizing the patterns in your mind that are fueling it. The wounds in your heart that make you need that as a self, right? Because that's not the real self. The self is love and acceptance, support. It's safety. And if there's someone that's making you feel unsafe or fuels those negative emotions, they're kind of a part of it, right? Got two here. Stuck right together. Willow and foxglove. Yeah. Foxglove, I think, is sort of a similar meaning to be true to you, right? Because it was this, what was the story now? This guy, he was like a pilgrim, and he got attacked by these bandits, and then they chopped off his head, but then he ends up picking up his head and carrying it home. And that's I like it because it has this like Kali energy to it, where she cuts off your head, but when she does that, it's oh, I think Hindu. I want to say Hindu. So don't get me hate in the comments if it's not. I'm sorry. I'll look it up later. But Kali, I believe, she's got this destructive chaos energy to her, and she cuts off your head when she is teaching you. It's sort of like teaching through destruction. It's like the Tower card, There's enlightenment that you gain from it, but something has to be turned on its head, right? And with this, I think it was a priest, he carries it home. And his blood drips the whole way, but the foxglove grows where the blood drips, I believe. Yeah, something like that. I'm forgetting what the lesson in that was, but maybe that's something that'll resonate. I think it's showing you they have the resilience to do this, even because you almost have this energy of thinking, well, this is going to destroy me. I'll be like, I lost my head. Yeah, like, maybe if you feel like if you quit something, you're going to feel crazy out of sorts, like you lost your mind. Or maybe it's just admitting to it makes you feel like you're admitting to madness. But actually, I think you can be like that priest and just pick up your head and carry on. I think that's kind of what it's telling you, is that you can do that. You're actually very resilient, and I think you just forgot that. And that's the trick of addictions as well. They can make us feel dependent, but we're actually not dependent at all. We actually can carry on without them. Gosh, I hope this. Sometimes I can't quite get my cards straight. Maybe you're trying to straighten out your life, and it's a struggle. Trying to get it so precise, but it's about accepting the flaws, isn't it? I'm going to look at Willow here in the book because I feel like I can't quite remember it. Yeah, it's got thin, pliable. Oh, right, yeah. Flexibility is the lesson of Willow, isn't it? Flexibility. So maybe you need to be flexible about how your life is going to look without this. And maybe also just be flexible about what you think can help you. Because maybe you're like someone who's never tried therapy before and you're really against it, or just think it wouldn't work for you, but maybe it actually would be really helpful. Or maybe, and there's tons of apps and free things out there, the resources that even tarot readings can be helpful. So, I think you're kind of learning to be flexible, or maybe that's a strength within you that you need to channel more to help you with this. Yeah, flexibility, willingness, and the curiosity to try things, new things that would invigorate your life. And even this could be about trying new activities because we've got it under a healthy lifestyle here. Maybe that's the key because sometimes we need something new to replace that thing, right? Hold on. Sorry, I just needed to, forgot to turn off my fan. So yeah, flexibility, that's what we were talking about. So Willow, it's definitely calling you to be flexible about what life circumstances you're going to have now that you've made this decision, now that you want to go on this path. So, try new things. Maybe trying a new activity would be really helpful for you. Actually, it would probably be very helpful for distracting, especially if you're trying to detox from something. And this doesn't have to be substances. Again, it can be people, it can be mindsets. Trying a new activity might be really, really helpful. It would boost your confidence. It can give you a distraction um, that can be, just fun, right? Like, because I think sometimes with addictions too, that becomes our fun, that becomes our safe space, right? But there's other ways to have fun. There's other ways to have enjoyment in life, or to get like that rush of energy, right? Or that rush of adrenaline, or that excitement for life. That can come from other things that aren't substances or aren't toxic people, right? Or things that just aren't good for us. It can even be like internet addiction, it doesn't have to be a very serious addiction. But I think this advice applies to all the situations where, just introducing new habits that are fun. Something you really think of, something you've always wanted to do, and just do it. If you wanted to learn a certain instrument, or maybe you wanted to take up running, or a new or rock climbing, or do something artistic, that would be really helpful. Something to creatively express. Maybe join a writing group. Maybe join an art group. Take a painting class, pottery class, something like that. Anything you wanted to really do that you've just never made the time for, or maybe you just couldn't, or the timing wasn't right. Now's the time. You're ready. And Foxglove also talks about timing. It talks about not letting others tell you what's the right timing, trusting your own timing, because others might try to dissuade you from a path you're on. And that's around the devil energy here, and be true to you. So I think the message is very clear there that you need to just go with the flow of what you want, what your inner child wants, something you've wanted since childhood, or that you've just always suppressed or pushed down. Do that now. Take out this toxic energy and replace it with something good. Dig up that, poison in the soil and plant some flowers. That's what's going to work for you. Yeah. All right. I think that's about the sense of the reading. That was the advice. So, and it's getting kind of long now, so we're just going to end it there. I think this was, good. I think, you got the right advice here. And yeah, thanks for staying to the end. And like the video if you liked it, it resonated. Please leave a comment if you have a story to share about how this resonated, but don't feel that you have to. And subscribe. Yeah, we'll see more readings, see where things go, right? And I'm really wishing you luck with this, because it's not an easy journey, but I really have confidence in you that you're making the right moves. You're taking the right steps to help yourself. And, I'm really proud of you for doing that. It's not easy. So, and pat yourself on the back, Give yourself credit. Celebrate yourself when you have wins like that. When you know you did good, when you know you've achieved a new milestone. celebrate yourself, mark the date, and just, yeah, have fun. Have lots of fun. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Take care.